It's a special high school playoff edition of our first NBC Bank video update. Lenny Van Gilder, Ken Trahan switching sides here. Ken's the expert on all of this kind of stuff, and I could just ask the questions. Let's get right into it, Ken. We're into the second weekend of the playoffs, the second round on the non-select side, the quarterfinals on the select side. We'll start with Class 5A, 8 matchups. Which one jumps off the page at you as the most intriguing?
Well, there's two, really. West Monroe Ponchatoula is interesting. Hank Tierney's a great coach. He's faced West Monroe at Shaw in the past. He doesn't have Christian Campbell like he had last year at quarterback, but he's good. And he beat Acadiana earlier this year, so that tells me that he'll be able to compete in this game, although you certainly have to like West Monroe. The upset special, of course, has to be Acadiana on the road against Parkway. Parkway's really good, and they'll probably be favored to win this game. But who can pick against Acadiana at this time of the year? They've been the best team in this class over the past 10 years. They run an offense that's tough to play against, and it's an offense that will play home or away. So I got to think that they have a good chance in this game.
Be interesting to see in 5A. As you look ahead to 4A, Neville, the number 1 seed, does not have to travel as the 16 seed Karen Crow won. What jumps off the page here to you?
Well, I mean, there's a couple of good matchups. A rematch between Warren Easton and Plaquemine. They played a thriller in the semifinals last year in New Orleans, and here they are back in New Orleans again this year, this time playing in the second round. Warren Easton's playing very well. I like their chances in this game. As far as looking for an upset here, a couple that come to mind. Bastrop at Assumption. Bastrop and Brad Bradshaw back at the helm can really score, and I think this will be a shootout game, maybe the most exciting game in the class. And the other one is, of course, Edna Carr, a 14 seed and a live underdog at Cecilia. Cecilia's really good, but Edna Carr with Alden Clark healthy at quarterback, they can win this game.
Yeah, they are certainly, as we mentioned last week, very live despite their record. 3A Lutcher gets to remain at home against Wassman. The other area team you look at here, a couple of them, Amite and St. James, still alive in the bracket as well. Your thoughts on this weekend?
Well, I think that there's a couple of games of interest in this particular class as well. Amite on the road at North Webster. North Webster's a good football team. Amite is battle-tested. They're tough and they're fast. And their game plays on the road, so I certainly give them a chance in this particular game. And the other game of interest in this class I think that's going to be fun to watch will be West Feliciana and Patterson. This could go either way. West Feliciana's a 13 seed. Patterson's won 9 straight games, though. And although they had to battle last week to win their game, barely got by Ville-Platte, I think West Feliciana, who has a great offense, has a real chance in this game.
Look ahead to 2A, and West St. John, the 17 seed, pulled the mild upset at Faraday, and they earn the right to host the number 1 seed Manny here in the second round.
Yeah, a champion in Manny, and obviously a team that's the protagonist of this split, and here they are again in a great position to possibly win, and certainly you have to like Manny even on the road in this game, although West St. John certainly looked good last week. As far as a live underdog is concerned, Lauraville, the 10 seed, at East Feliciana, the 7 seed. Lauraville, another team that can really score, and their game will play regardless of weather, which, by the way, figures to be good. So I like their chances in that particular game. On the road, they have a real shot. Of course, the 8-9 game's always a good one, Mangum and South Plaquemine.
As you move to 1A, this was the one non-select bracket where there were byes because they didn't have 32 teams competing for championship honors. Kentwood, the number 1 seed, gets into action this week under the tank against Oberlin.
Yeah, I mean, Kentwood is clearly a team that you're going to have to beat in this class, and I think they're my favorite to win the class too. I think a good matchup is Arcadia and Delhi, 2 North Louisiana teams that are familiar with each other. I think this is a game that could go either way. Delhi is the 10 seed. I certainly think they have a chance in this game as the live underdog. But who can pick against Haynesville? You know, they're there every year. Here they are again as the 3rd seed. They lost their first 2 games to higher class teams, and here they are, and they're very, very good and have a great chance to repeat.
They will be at home against Varnado. Now we switch gears to the select side where they are on to the quarterfinals, and you got some terrific matchups starting across the board, but starting in Division I, some really good matchups. 4 teams that did not play a week ago facing off this week, both coming off byes. That Curtis St. Paul's matchup 4-5, Brother Martin Catholic at 3-6, plus Rummel and Evangel, the top 2 seeds, facing essentially those play-in winners.
Yeah, this is the class where, as Cheers used to say, everybody knows your name because everybody has seen each other probably at some point, except for Holy Cross and Evangel, although they've met a couple of times in the playoffs. They haven't played in recent years. Brother Martin Catholic, great quarterfinal game a year ago. Brother Martin won by Holy Catholic at the inch-yard line to end it. John Curtis and St. Paul's, they scrimmage every year. They know each other extremely well. Rummel and Jesuit played against Sam, right, 4 times in 2 years. So all very good games as far as the potential upset in this class. hard to find, but really, to me, the best chance would be St. Paul's at home against John Curtis.
And that would be an upset in most people's minds, although St. Paul's is the higher seed, the 4 seed in this. Division II, some great matchups here as well. One game we'll have for you Friday night at sportsnola.com. De La Salle, the 3 seed against the 6 seed Turlings Catholic from Pan American Stadium. You can watch it here live Friday night at 7 on sportsnola.com.
Yeah, delicious game. The newcomer and the proven commodity of sorts. And Cole Kelly, 6'7", and he's all that, and he can throw every route. And Turlings Catholic would certainly be the underdog that I think has the real chance to win. De La Salle can win the game, too. But again, they're facing a team, I don't know if they've seen an offense like this that can throw it all over the place. We'll see how the Cavaliers fare because they're very athletic, and I think their loss to Lutcher really helped them. The experience will certainly help them carrying over in this game. And otherwise, looking at the rest of the matchups here, St. Louis Catholic's a hot team. They've played very well in the second half of the season. Tough schedule early, but Parkview Baptist has played a really tough schedule, too, and it's hard to go against them at home.
Yeah, both of those teams had byes last week. There's 11 teams in the Division II bracket. We move on to Division III, and the matchups don't get any less juicy. You got some great ones here, like Notre Dame and Calvary in that 3-6 game, and then the other part of the bracket, a game we'll have for you here Saturday afternoon at sportsnola.com. The 10 seed Country Day, who went on the road and pulled the upset at Ouachita Christian, gets a home game this week on Saturday against St. Thomas Aquinas.
A great matchup, and of course, you need to watch it here at sportsnola.com and get a professional broadcast and have a good time in the process. And we'll do our radio show from 10 a.m. to noon out there at Country Day with Rick Gailey, Ed Daniels, and I prior to the webcast at 1 o'clock at sportsnola.com. Yeah, that game's a great matchup. St. Thomas Aquinas, big defensive line that's very good with Edwin Alexander, the LSU commit, and Dylan Lee. Cameron Dantzler, a tremendous athlete under center. Country Day has Jace Griffin, who's really good. Christian Carruth, the quarterback's been outstanding. Trey Harrell, really good, too. I got a feeling that points will be scored in this game. And then, of course, the other game that certainly stands out is Notre Dame and Calvary Baptist. That's a state championship game. I mean, it's really unbelievable that they're playing this early. Calvary's a 2-time defending champion. Take away Shea Patterson, they've got most everything else back. And Notre Dame's undefeated. They've got a legendary Hall of Fame coach in Louis Cook. So, to me, those are the matchups to watch.
And it's the St. Charles Catholic Madison Prep game we didn't touch upon, and a district rematch, Riverside and Newman, those games on the top of the bracket. As you head to Division IV, and the last of the 9 brackets, Ascension Episcopal, the number 1 seed, only a 21-7 winner in Week 1 against the 16 seed St. Fred. They will have to travel this week to Cedar Creek, the 9 seed. Your thoughts on the Division IV bracket?
Yeah, that's not an easy game for Ascension Episcopal, certainly. But I think the games here in this bracket that interest me, St. Mary's undefeated. They've got Hamilton Christian, and everyone is still wondering how good the team from Natchitoches is. They're very good, but the question is, can they handle the kind of competition they're going to face now? We're about to find out because it's somewhat uncharted territory for St. Mary's. And then, of course, the other matchup is Southern Lab and Central Catholic. I like Southern Lab to pull the upset on the road. I think from the standpoint of who they've played this year and their talent level, I think they're the team to beat in this class.
As a 6 seed as well, but I tend to agree that they are very live in that spot. There's your 9 brackets, the updates. When we get through this weekend, we'll be down to the semifinals. On the select side, be down to the quarterfinals. On the non-select side, keep up with it all Friday night, Saturday afternoon. SportsNola.com, of course, has the best scoreboard in the state, presented by the Allstate Sugar Bowl. Ken's original show will originate from Joe Yenny Stadium, where he'll have in-game live broadcast, Rummel and Jesuit, that Division I quarterfinal, as well as all of the scores that will keep you up to date. And as we mentioned, Friday night at SportsNola.com, we will have De La Salle and Turlings in the Division II quarterfinals, and then again Saturday afternoon at 1, Country Day, St. Thomas Aquinas. There's no other place to be than right here at SportsNola.com. Ken, have fun. I know you love this time of year.
Yeah, I do, Lenny. Thanks very much. We'll enjoy it.
And that's our special update to catch you up on the high school football playoffs, presented by First NBC Bank. Of course, stay with us here at SportsNola.com. We will have much more to keep you up on the high school front.